Hello, and you're all very welcome to Along the Line, brought to you by CK Streaming. Coming up in the show, we'll be looking ahead to the start of the National Hurling League with Conor O'Brien, where we'll be giving you a sneak peek inside our new studio, which we'll be broadcasting from next week, and our Tipperary Wall of Fame. If there's somebody you think we should have on the wall, feel free to contact us with your suggestions. I'm joined once again by Sean Martin. Sean, how are things?
Good out, Tomas now.
I suppose after the long wait, the league underway this weekend, Tipp have a tough one to start out with.
Yeah, thank God we're back to seeing live matches now again. It was worth the wait now, and we're great to see him back now. Yeah, Tipp do have a tough one. Limerick down in Limerick, Saturday at 5:00. But no, it should be a good one now. Like Tipp are rested now and everything like from the year, and we're back into a bit of fine hurling now. And like last year's league, it was a great encounter. Tipp and Limerick in Thurles. It was a great match, and Limerick only barely winning by a pint. So I'd be fairly confident now of Tipp playing Limerick now. They have not to fear anyway. First day out.
Yeah, so it's like Tipp have been lucky enough. We still have Shamey and Paddy and all these lads going to give it another year, but there's plenty of young talent there now. It'll be interesting to see who's going to be used.
That's it, yeah. Because now is the time there to give these young lads like Dylan Quirk and Brian O'Mara and the likes, to give them starting places, to give Shamey and Paddy and Brendan and the older legs a bit of a rest, because realistically we're going to need them for the championship more than the league. So it's now time to give the younger lads a run and see how they will set up with the Tipp set up, like, because jumping from the 20s to the seniors is going to be a big step up, and especially against the All-Ireland champions on their first day out, it's going to be a big task for them.
Yeah, I believe Kieran Connolly and Andy Ormond are in there as well, along with Owen Connolly from the under 20s last year.
Yeah, they'll be a help as well. Like we've seen what they can do with the 20s last year, and they'll be given a bit more freedom with the seniors. There won't be as much pressure on their backs as there was with the 20s to carry the team. So they'll be given a bit more freedom to play, and I definitely like to see them in the build-up now for the league and hopefully into the championship now, because they have great potential, and we can't see them if they're not only getting 5 and 10 minutes here. We need to be playing good parts of matches. So yeah, they're going to be a great help now. Like the young legs, they will take the pressure off Shamey and Paddy and Brendan and DeBonner, because they'll know like there's good talent coming up from underneath, that they won't have to carry the team so early in the year. But hopefully now the rest will do them good, and we'll have a good gel of youth and wise heads coming into the championship, because they will be needed. Like,
yeah, because the 2016 All-Ireland winning team, and they were beaten in 15 in the minor as well, and then 18 and 19 with the under 20 and under 21 All-Irelands. Jake Morris is the only one that's really stayed the claim so far. So the likes of these guys coming through, Brian McGrath and Paddy Cadell, the likes of these fellas now, they've been knocking around for a couple of years. This could be a big year for them now to stake a claim.
This is going to be their year, yeah, to make the claim, because we're back in the summer hurling now. Like last year, like you seen the match against Limerick in Below and Cork, like the weather for that was atrocious. Like, so now that we're back in the summer hurling, like grounds will be a bit harder, the weather will be finer. So we really get to see what these Tipp boys are made of, because as we've seen in 19 with the likes of the Wexford match in the All-Ireland semi, we know what Tipp are like once the fine weather comes, and like they're able to slip passes 30, 40 yards and scoring from outrageous distances. So like, yeah, and then likes these young lads like Paddy and Brian and the likes, they really have to stake a claim now this year, because like now is their time to settle. While once they'll be settling, once the older lads do move on, they'll really be settling into the team, and the pressure then will be really gone off into stake a claim. Like,
yeah, because Billy Seymour is another one that's in there too, as well. We seen Alan Flynn last year with Killadangan, and then I suppose he was playing a few different positions as well when championship came around. So there's plenty there to pick from.
Absolutely, yeah. there's plenty, and like even like there's a few Killanging boys there, as you said, the Flynn's there, and James Quigley then as well. So they'll be really helped. Like they'll really bring their experiences into the team, and this is what's needed. It's like fresh, shake up the whole thing, because you see with Limerick, like they're such a young panel. Like they can experiment and stuff. Like you seen that Kyle Hayes going back to wing back last year for Limerick here was really a massive help to him. So yeah, we have a few players like that can play in loads of different positions, and it will be needed, like, because there is players going to get injured. Like it's inevitable. Like it's nothing you can do about it. So we just need lads to step in now and stand in and fill these places, because it's going to be needed, because it is going to be a tight championship. We know it. Like it's such a short time to get ready. Like we're only training back the 10th for the clubs, and then the counter gone back a few, I think last week or the week before. So yeah, it'll be a really tough championship now, but it'll really show what they're all made of. So it will.
Yeah, like the 5 games that they have in the league, it doesn't look like they're going to get any practice games. We still don't know, but I suppose it'd be nice to lay down a marker early now on Saturday against Limerick.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really a good start to the year to beat the All-Ireland champions in their backyard. Like, I know it's the league, but still, like, beating the All-Ireland champions in any stage of the year is always a win. Like, and if we can see these young lads in, like, beating Limerick or even giving them a good contest, like, it'll really help their confidence going into the year, that they know that they can beat the best team in the country. So it'll really be just hope now we get everything going well and a good strong team out, and hopefully now we can give it to Limerick now, because they are beatable. Like they're not as invincible as people are making them out to be. Like they have weak points there, and Liam and the guys they'll all sit down together and they'll pick it out and they'll pick the best team for the job, like, and like they can go out and win.
Yeah, just looking at the other games, Westmeath and Galway, I suppose Galway are going to be expected to win that, but it's hard to know what kind of team Galway will have this year again.
That's it, yeah. Like the pressure is off Galway for the first day out, like, because as like won't like to underestimate Westmeath, but you rather get them than a Limerick or Tipp in the first day out. So yeah, as you say, you wouldn't know what team Galway could have out. Like the fitness of lads, like they'd like to see Joe Cannon back after the All-Ireland semi. Like he'll surely be raring to go now, and the rest of the boys. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Galway turns up now on the day, because it could be for a good match. Like, because Westmeath will have nothing to fear. Like everything will be on Galway to win the first day out. So it should end up for a good match. Like it's not it could be a game to watch the day. Like you never know what Westmeath team could turn up either. Like,
yeah, and also in Tipp's group you have Cork and Waterford. It looks like Kieran Kingston is going to freshen things up down in Cork. Aidan Walsh is gone, Stephen O'Donnell is gone, Conor Lahan, I think Christopher Joyce as well. So it looks like he's going to go with young blood.
Looks like it, yeah. He wants to inject the youth into the senior team, because like for the last few years they've been sluggish. Like they haven't been as fresh as they have as we've seen them before, like in 2017 and 18. But he seems to know what he's doing. Like he's not dropping, because these guys are top class hurlers. Like it's not like he's dropping them for the sake of it. He obviously has a plan behind it to inject the youth into the Cork team. But they'll still have the old heads there, like Pat Horgan, the boys. They'll all be still there. They'll make sure that they'll keep the young lads going, and to be a good injection of pace into them, because Cork, when they do go well, they have a great team. Like as we've seen in 17 and 18, they're very close off getting to the All-Irelands and winning them. Like in 18 especially, it was only a puck of a ball in normal time that stopped them getting to the All-Ireland. So it could be a hell to Cork. We'll just have to wait and see. And then Waterford then as well. Like Waterford getting to the All-Ireland last year, that'll really boost them on going into the league and the championship. Like they'll have nothing to fear now. They know what to do and how to get to the final. So everything, they'll have no fear going into it. Like, because Liam Cahill in his second year in his charge as well, he'll know the players more, and he can be able to get more out of them. Like,
yeah, because Ty de Burke was going to be a huge loss picking up that injury in the All-Ireland. And it doesn't look like Pádraig Mahony will be back for a while either.
That's it, Tig. It'll be a serious loss to Waterford, because we've seen he was one of the best hurlers in the country last year. And then getting that accident in the All-Ireland, it really didn't help their chances, because they were going well up to that injury. And it's just a shame for him and Pádraig then as well. Like, he's been unlucky with injuries throughout the years, like, and because he is an exceptional hurler as well. And there'll be two big losses to Waterford. Like, don't get me wrong, they'll be the two best Waterford's hurlers, but Liam Cahill, he'll have the boys ready. He'll have two fresh lads in ready to go, and I'm sure Tig and Pádraig will be there at training, driving them all on, like, to be mad to rare and play, and like, after being out for so long, and especially being back now hurling in the summer months, it's just going to be a killer for them. But they'll just have to watch on and rest and recover well.
Yeah, because Waterford actually have a young enough panel. Just looking at the programme from last year's All-Ireland, and Conor Prunty stood in as captain when Pádraig Mahony got injured. And he's actually, after being made captain for the year this year, like, Conor Prunty's still only 23.
Maybe it's the way to go, having a youth as captain, because to really take the pressure off the older lads, not to try lead a team and perform, like, because it's hard to do both, especially as the years go on. Like, so yeah, Conor, he had a great year again last year, and he'll surely be up to the job. Liam knows what he's doing, like, making him captain, and he can obviously see that he's the captain spirit inside them to really lead on the Waterford team. So they'll be there and there again this year for our league and All-Ireland. Like, don't get them wrong.
Yeah, and then Wexford are playing Laois below in Wexford, and we seen last year with Wexford, with the matches behind closed doors, how it affected them. Usually they drive on with the crowd there, but it's a big year for Davy down there.
It is a big year for Davy. It's make or bust for Davy this year. Like, they need to see results down in Wexford, or I'd say he could be gone. Like, because, like, Wexford, as you said, the crowd, they were very very unlucky in 19 in the All-Ireland semi to lose out to ourselves. Tipp, like, they more or less had in the bag on just a few silly mistakes, and they cost them. So Wexford, they really need a big year this year. Like, and let's say playing Laois, you saw in 19. Great year they had, and then last year it was just a fallout year for them. So that actually could be one of the matches of the weekend, like, because two great teams are putting into each other. Like, Wexford need a win, and Laois, the pressure will be on them again now to have a year like they had in 19.
Yeah, and Clare having to travel up to Antrim, Darren Gleeson in charge up there. Antrim had a great year last year, and they'll be looking to make some sort of inroads this year.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, it is. That could be a tricky one for Clare travelling to Antrim, like, because, as you said, Darren Gleeson will have the Antrim boys ready to go. Like, they know what they have to do. Like, they know the step up they have to make, and they have great serious power in their panel. And Darren will have the boys ready now, and I could see Antrim do Clare in that, like, because Clare, it really didn't go well from last year in the championship. So it could be a good match now, and we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out, because I could have a feeling Darren will have something up his sleeve. Like, he'll have a few tricks to pull out of the hat to further Clare, because he'll want to lay down a marker. Their first championship match at this level, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on now.
Yeah, because looking at that group there, Dublin, Kilkenny, Antrim, Clare, Wexford, Laois, Antrim probably will be targeting a few of them games, and possibly a few of the early games, because they're back training obviously in the north a couple of weeks before they were down here. So they're going to have that bit of extra freshness as well. So they will be looking to lay down a marker early.
Absolutely, they will. Yeah, they'll have the few-week advantage going back. And they have a lot of them games are winnable for Antrim. They kind of got, you could say, on paper, the easier group. They invited the likes of Tipp and Limerick. So a lot of them games are winnable for Antrim. Don't get me wrong, they have a great panel, and the freshness then as well of coming up this year, and the expectations won't be on them. So they're live. I could see them doing well in this year's league now.
Yeah, just moving on there, looking at the Camogie, they announced there at the weekend that they weren't going with the split season, even though 82% had voted to go with the split season. And they came out and said that they were going to play National League and then go play club and then come back and play the Inter-County Championship. There's a lot of people coming out against it in the last few days, because obviously you'd have the problem with the dual stars and between club and county then as well. And we see the GPA bringing out a statement, just have it there in front of me, where they welcome the decision for the Camogie to go back and get the opinion of club players over the next 7 days. But if it's a thing that they don't overturn this decision and have the split season, 84% of inter-county players have said that they will not participate in the National League. So it was kind of a strange decision that they made in the first place.
Absolutely, yeah. It is more unfair to the players than anything, because at the end of the day, the players are the ones that have to play, not these people making the decisions. And it's completely unfair. Like, you wouldn't ask a men's player to do that, like, them decisions. So it's really unfair. And like the Camogie Association have to remember as well, like, that a lot of their players are playing ladies football. So the pressure on them, like, they talk about burnout and all this, like, it's very unfair for these have to go out and play a league, club and championship all the one. And then some players will be playing ladies football as well. It's a joke to the girls, like, because they should deserve more, they deserve better, like, because to see with the men with the split season this year and how well that works for them, that they don't get the same treatment. Like, it's pure wrong. Like, it's not fair to them.
Yeah, because if you look at it, you'll be talking about possibly playing an inter-county game, Camogie or ladies football, and then having to possibly go play a club game as well for the other code. So it doesn't really make any sense. We thought that after last year that they were after coming to some sort of a thing, especially when the Camogie Association only a few weeks ago at the Congress said that they were going to recognise the dual player. Like, just looking at some of the statement here from the GPA, and we had recently informed on April the 2nd, the Camogie Association, that our members wanted to see a split season introduced. The key factors that influenced the split decision or the split season choice were the club and county, inter-county players and also club players. They want to be able to give 100% to commitment to either the club team or their county team during the respective windows. Club leagues. Players believe that club leagues should go ahead while the inter-county season is being played to ensure their club teammates are able to participate in meaningful games across the summer. And dual players should not be in a position of having to choose inter-county football over club camogie or vice versa, or inter-county camogie over club football or vice versa. So it was pretty clear there from the start. The inter-county players were happy enough for the clubs to play league games while inter-county was going on. Same as what happens in the men, so that their club mates are getting matches.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just weird for him to double back on that. Like, just everyone seemed to be happy with that decision, and then to go and just completely ignore what they were talking about is just pure unfair. Like, and what you can see now is a lot of players won't play it. Like, a lot of them won't play it like the leagues because of this, in protest, because like it's not fair. As you say, you could be playing an inter-county match on a Saturday or an important club match on a Sunday, or even two into one day, which isn't really fair. You shouldn't be have to choose that. Like, at the end of the day, this is still an amateur sport. Like, these people have to go to work then in the morning after that. Like, and go and play in two matches in 1 week alone is very hard without, and at this level then it's even harder. So hopefully now we'll see some sort of decision being made to now, because I can't be surprised if players do protest this decision.
Yeah, because by the looks of it, only one only one of the counties actually voted for this. Now, we don't know what county it was. Voted for what the Camogie have put forward. And just looking at different clubs and different county boards over the last few days, they have all come out against it and said that they wanted a split season. And like the Camogie are going to poll clubs and players over the next week before deciding, and it's only going to go one way by the looks of it. It'll go back to a split season.
It's the way it should be. They shouldn't even have to be forced to do this decision. It should be a straight split season. End of story. It's just pure unfairness to them, and they should be allowed to get the same treatment as the men. Like,
yeah, well, I suppose only time will tell now. Hopefully, we'll have white smoke on that next weekend. Well, after 6 months of waiting, the National Hurling League is going to get underway this weekend, and Tipp travelled to Limerick to meet the Munster and All-Ireland champions. Joining us along the line now to look forward to the game is former Tipperary hurler Conor O'Brien. Conor, how's things?
All good now, Tom.
Conor, I suppose you're looking forward to it.
Sure, absolutely. Look, it is the last bit of inter-county hurling we had was the 13th December, and it was the All-Ireland final between Limerick and Waterford, and for the while before that, before we saw Tipp. So really looking forward to it now. As saying to you there beforehand, there's only so much rugby and so much soccer you can watch on the telly. So really looking forward now to next Saturday evening and sitting down and watching the boys going into the Gaelic round and see how we get on.
Yeah, because usually we'd have Munster League and I suppose a few practice matches to look and try and gauge how they're going, but they're more or less going in the blind now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at it, I suppose it isn't the normal at all. There's been nothing normal for the last 18 months or so, or slightly less. But so look at you, the boys are only back there a couple of weeks training, and it's straight into the league now next week. So look, we've nothing really to go on, no form, nothing like that. I suppose every team is starting from the exact same spot. Usually some teams, if they got knocked out early, might have went back before Christmas if it was a normal season, and the All-Ireland champions would be going back maybe after Christmas. But no, they're all starting from scratch now. So it's just really looking forward to it. Look, we know players are going to be rusty because there has been no challenge matches. There's been no really run into it at all, just probably in-house games. But even as intense as they can be, you can't beat matches. So I'd say for all the players on every panel in the league, they're just mad for road now at this stage to get onto the field and play in proper matches.
Yeah, I suppose I asked you after the Galway game, was it the last time we saw a few of the lads in the Tipp jersey, and you were kind of adamant that it wasn't, and that they'd be back. And just for luck, we haven't had any retirements. I suppose lockdown probably gave the boys a bit of a chance to refresh too, like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, look, the boys have been on the road a long time. You look at Shamey, 14. I think this is going to be his 14th season. The rest of the boys then, the Noel, Paddy, Conor, Brendan, they're going into their 13th season. So look, it's unbelievable service to the blue and gold. In fairness to the boys, they've been exceptional during that period. But that break is going to do them boys the world of good, because like the lads would have went into the championship last year of hard club campaign, and given the mileage that they had in the legs and what they've done in the past, it probably didn't suit them, because you had a lot of them lads, you had the McGraths who were out 12, 13 weekends in a row. A lot of the rest of the boys were getting to quarterfinals. Like Conor was in the Oreen final, Brendan was in a quarterfinal, and the same with Paddy. So like them boys were going right up until they went back in county training. Often the club games can be harder than the county games, because I suppose there's loads of different lads that are lining up to get a crack at the county match, So like the boys now are going to be fresh. They've had their own training. the good thing about that their own training is that you can probably do it at your own pace, that you're not in the group, and you can build it up then before you go back in, and then build it up in the 3 to 4 weeks now before the league match on Saturday evening. So I think it'll suit the boys down to the ground that, they're getting a good run at it. There's going to be no club. I suppose the club isn't going to be coming into it really at any stage. You're getting a clean run at it, and I think it'll only benefit the lads. Will they be playing every game in the league? I suppose that's up to Liam and the boys deciding what way they're going to do that. But look, they know that we have to find a few other bodies as well. So I'm sure the boys will be seeing some game time, but whether they'll be playing in the 5 matches or not, I probably doubt it.
Yeah, I suppose the young lads that are coming in, the experience of the likes of Shamie and Paddy and Brendan will definitely bring them on a bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you go into a dressing room, if you're a young lad there coming in, say the likes of be it Owen Connolly or these lads now that are new on the panel, I think maybe Andy Ormond, Kieran Connolly from Lockmore, like these lads, like you're going in and you're rubbing shoulders with the boys as you've mentioned. Sure, like I'm sure that these boys are probably pinching themselves, talking out beside these edges really. So and there you can be sure that they'll be watching the boys, learning from the way they do things, the way they push themselves, the way they mind themselves, their preparation, everything. And look at whether it's a year or two that them boys are going to be exposed to them older boys in the dressing room. I'm sure they're soaking up every minute of it to learn as much as they can from them.
Yeah, and I suppose one of the lads there to look out for, Alan Tynan. I know he was a handful for you above in Drumban last year, so it'd be interesting to see how he was.
Yeah, look, a good hurler, and you said I got first-hand experience last year above in that relegation semi-final, and look, it's great for someone like Alan Tynan. Look, he's been exposed to high-level rugby as well, so he has that experience coming into it as well. And, look, it's going to be really exciting to see these boys. We need to find a few bodies, so you just really want to see these boys standing up to the plate as they're well able to. Like they've done it underage. Fair enough, Alan kind of has been probably not maybe exposed to that level the last couple of years because he was doing the rugby, but still he's been exposed to a high level at that game. So it's taking boys get a game, get a bit of confidence under the belt. It'd be great to see him making an impression. And because I've said already, like we need to find a couple of these boys.
Yeah, any of these lads in particular you're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, there is I suppose two fellas I'd have on my mind now. They were on the panel last year, but I think two lads that can really make an impression is Dylan Quirk from Canoety and Brian O'Mara from Holy Cross. They're two big, strong men, well able to hurl. I suppose we've come up against Canoety regularly there over the last number of years, and seeing Dylan, look at his big, strong man. He was fantastic last year against Waterford in the league game. I think he got 5 points from play that day. And then I suppose we played Galway then the following week. That was it then until championship. But and he didn't get in, which was unfortunate. But I think he's someone that, especially in the half forward line, he's a savage athlete, well able to shoot, and he comes from good stock as well. And I think he's someone that could really make an impression if we get to run a match together. And likewise, Brian O'Mara, savage centre back for the 20s. We saw him in that Munster final there a couple of years ago against Cork. I thought he was exceptional that night. The night Jake got the goal at the end, and a strong lad, savage hurler, a bit of Fitzgibbon experience as well with UL from last year. So he's someone I think that can make an impression as well. But look at any of these lads, they have gone in the last year or two. The lads that have gone in this year and the lads that have gone in last year. Suppose look at the lads that have gone in last year have a year's experience in terms of strength and condition and stuff like that, get the body ready for that level. But now is the time. I'm sure there's a panel of 35, 36, which is a clean slate for the boys. I'm sure over that 4-week period and these 5 league games to make your impression. If you get the jersey on the day, that's your jersey, and if you hurl well enough, you'll hold on to it. And I'm sure that the boys have been told that. And, there's no doubt that a few of them will, just grab it by the scruff of the neck and go for it.
Yeah, because you're just saying there, some of them were in the panel there last year, and like Maria Curley there, the ladies' football, had said they have a lot of minors in with them at the minute, and to bring them on for the next year or two. and give them the experience. I suppose being around the panel a year or two before you don't get your chance is an awful help.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I suppose the first year, I suppose you're trying to bed in, you're trying to find your feet, and it can be a little bit unsettling, I suppose, in some ways. I think it's different from around 10 years ago. Like you go back to maybe when, say, the late 2000s, maybe, I found when I was in there, like, you don't have the animals, the men, then like that you do now. Like, strength and conditioning has gone so big, like, and lads are trying to grow into their bodies, find their bodies. If you're not a certain size, or you've certain balance or strength, you're not going to survive in the intercounty game at the moment. So I think that fella coming in maybe on his first year, making a burst straight into the team, unless he's an exceptional talent, you don't really see it. So I think lads need that year or two to get their bodies ready for the intercounty game now, and and that experience. And but look at now, we have lads who like Billy Seymour's in it there at the moment. Like Billy Seymour, big man, fantastic under 20 there for a couple of years. Lads like that who are big men and I think could make an impression. And look at Jesus, like we've plenty of lads there that can make a go off this. Now, look at, you can be sure any of the older guys or any, not even our older lads. There's a lot of lads in there that have been in there the last few years as well, and you telling me that they're going to give up their jersey to a young lad coming in, that easy? No, they're not. Like, so you'd imagine at the moment that's the skin and hair flying inside these 15 on 15 matches and that. So and there's 5 league games, as I said already, for you to stake a claim for your jersey. So it's going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, because I suppose with the league, would there be no league final? Like some people are saying, they're glorified practice matches, but at the end of the day, they're there to put down a marker as well. Like, championship is only around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at it, when there isn't a league final, there will be a league final, but it's only if the two teams meet if they meet in Championship League, then it'll double up as a league final. Am I right in that? I think I am.
Yeah.
So like while they are, you could put the tag on them that they're glorified challenge matches. And look at, are you going to see your strongest 15 out? Probably what you think are your 15, maybe probably twice, maybe once or twice, where you imagine managers are going to pick their games that they're going to pick that absolutely go for. But still, like, you want to put a string of results together, and if you're any of the teams that are trying to make a real impression in Championship, you're going to try and get, as I say, put results together, get wins together, get your confidence up, that when you're hitting the first round of the Championship, because I think there's only 2 weeks from the last game of the league right into the Championship. So you won't be hitting that. You don't want to lose 5 games. Fair enough, you might use 40 players, but if you lose 5 games, what's the atmosphere going to be like in the camp when you go into the first round? It's not going to be good, like. So you want to be getting a few year results, getting your confidence up, while at the same time, trying to get a look at as many players as you can. But it's a really, really short time, really short period. So that's going to be really hard for the different management teams, with all the panels involved.
Yeah, because I suppose with the game still behind closed doors, and like obviously there's nobody in a training or that, it being so low key will probably help Tipp.
Yeah, it will, and it's hard to know. Like, it's so surreal, the whole thing that even for us supporters, like as we were saying beforehand, Tom, to get, I suppose, the buzz that you usually have, you're so looking forward to the day itself of Championship. But yeah, look, it's low key for every team. They're just working away there now at the moment, trying to judge it as best you can, and look at they've the experts inside in terms of the strength condition and stuff like that, in terms of time in your training and how much training you want to do. You want to get your work done without picking up injuries, stuff like that. But it's the same for every county. We're just building up to this weekend, and you have 5 games in 5 weeks, and you're just hoping that, I suppose, none of your major players pick up injuries or that, because it is such a short, condensed season now. If you pick up any kind of a muscle injury, you know what I mean, you're back 3-4 weeks, and you want to be getting game time, into your big players so that they're hitting the first round, in top form.
Yeah, I suppose looking at the rest of the teams in the league, sure, Limerick are still the team to beat, but looking at some of the others, Cork have lost Aidan Walsh and Conor Lahan, Stephen O'Donnell, I think, is gone, and maybe Christopher Joyce, and Kilkenny with Paul Murphy and Colin Fennelly and Gerard Aylward and that. But we always know Kilkenny will be Kilkenny. They're not one to right half. But it's hard to know what to expect out of the other counties.
Yeah, it is like, but look at it, I suppose we're there's the chasing pack is very condensed behind Limerick. You know what I mean? In terms of it's very hard to pick anyone out of the, the 5 or 6 teams. Look, I think Limerick are ahead at the moment. They're favourites to win the league and they're favourites to win the All-Ireland. And in fairness, I think that's rightly so. I don't think any of us can question that, I should say. But you know what I mean? It's you look at Galway, like they probably give Limerick the best rattle of the year last year in the in the semi-final. And if Cathal Mannion hadn't went off in that game, even though they were hanging on to Limerick's coattails, if Mannion, is a massive player for them. We saw him against those like massive pace around the middle of the field and half forward line, and he could have had a big influence on that game if he was there. And look at Cork, they've decided to go with their youth, and look, but they've been very unlucky. I suppose we bet them in two All-Ireland finals in under 20. Look at if they had won them 2 games, you could say Cork hurling would be in a different place altogether. You know what I mean? There wasn't much in it. I suppose look at the final of 19. All right, I suppose we got all the goals, but the Munster final had been so close. So it's Cork are still a good hurling team, and you know what I mean. And like their game against Limerick in the championship is going to be, it's going to be a massive game. Cork have had good results against Limerick, come back to the last 2 years, and I suppose look, and then if they're just on our side of the group, then just going by them and on our side of the group in 1A, like then you've Waterford as well, who will be, look at Tyke de Burke is going to be a huge loss to them. Like he was knocking on the door of hurler of the year last year. He is just a class hurler, and he's a savage loss for them. But then you've like the Dara Fives coming back into the would have played centre back from before. Didn't probably see a whole lot of game time last year. He's had his injury worries. So if he was able to shore that up, that position at centre back. Now he's not a Tyke de Burke, but still he's a good solid hurler. So, and look at you can be sure Liam Carroll and Bevan, we know them better than anyone, Tom, and we know them boys are going to be prepared fair well. And if they get over Clare in the first round of the championship, which I expect they will, then that's going to be some crack ourselves and themselves, So that will be some battle, and that's one I'm looking forward to. I think that's the way it'll work out. Look at you never know in hurling, but Waterford will be fair determined to get back, and after the year they had last year, came out with no cup, and they'll be going home, because the choice for them is now with a few moving on, even though they have a youngish team, but there's still a few older heads like Kevin Moore and Jamie Barron. Are they going to be happy to say, well, look, we had such a good year last year, and then it flitters out this year? I don't think that's going to happen. One game I'm looking forward to, Tom, I know I'm rambling now a small bit, for sure. I always do that with you, but is Antrim. You know what I mean? Clare going up to Antrim in the first round, and so we've Darren Gleeson from Port over Antrim. So Clare going up to Antrim the first year back in Division 1, like that's going to be some crack too. So it'd be great. It's like if Antrim get a win, I presume that their main aim this year is to survive in the league. You know what I mean? Because then when the crowds are back maybe the following year and the talk of casements being done up and that, that'd be brilliant. And I suppose he'll have plenty of support down this side anyway with Darren.
Yeah, Darren has done some job up there.
Yeah, sure, unreal. Look at you'd know back hurling with Darren back a few years ago that he was always management material. You know what I mean, and coach material. Never afraid to say his few words in fairness to him, but look at always a real solid message beside it, and behind it, I should say. And look at it. I suppose it hasn't been ideal for them. They would have loved maybe a bit longer of a run into the league in terms of getting things together and stuff like that. But look, you can be sure they were working away and stuff like that. And they were really good last year. Like I saw a few of their games last year with Joe McDonough. Now the final was probably Antrim's worst day. That was probably their worst performance of the McDonagh. You know what I mean? But they got over the line. But that's what you do they done what they had to do on final day. But they're a fair outfit now, and they've some savage forwards, you know. So Jesus, like if they could beat Clare, and Clare going up to Antrim, that's not going to be easy. But if they could get a win there, it would really set them up, you know. And especially in the league, you know, where you've Laois are in the group and Dublin in the group. And I think one of them has to go up to Belfast as well. So there'll be some crack, like, you know, and especially there's the last team going into relegation, and you know, you don't want to be going into a relegation final, especially if you're going into your first round championship. If you face into a relegation final at some stage, you know, it wouldn't be great preparation for the championship for whichever team ends up in it, you know.
Yeah, because Antrim are always good for a scalp, even down through the years. But if you're actually talking to Darren, tell him I'm looking for him, will you? It's easier to get Liam Sheedy on the show than Darren Gleeson.
Yeah, Liam, that's you.
And just touching clubs are back next week. They're looking at the 7th of June for matches to be recommenced. And I suppose the county board are looking at maybe 14 groups of county league to get preparation in for the championship. I presume you're going soldiering for another year.
Well, sure we will, I suppose, Tom. Yeah, it wasn't a fantastic year. Now last year we barely survived by the skin of our teeth there now. So look, to the big year for us that way now in terms of trying to see can we make any impression. But look at none of us know where we are really. Lads have been doing a bit themselves. You hope, all right. So we'll see how it goes. But look, I think everyone will just be delighted to be back the week after next, back in the field, back training. We'll be in our pods of 15 or whatever it is. But lads are just busting to get back to the field. I'm sure you see it above with your own boys as well, Tom. Like just to get out, even from the social aspect, to get into the field, meeting lads. You know, just we had a Zoom thing there a few weeks ago, and you'd be buzzing after. It was only a quiz, but like just to get to see lads, because you know, you some lads you'd see, all right, but other lads you wouldn't, like, you know. So it's just great to be getting back, and really, really looking forward to it. Look at it's mighty then the fact that you've only a 4-week running to a county league game, because usually you could be going back there the first week after Christmas, and you're looking at maybe 6 weeks before you have a match, because you're trying to get certain work done, and you're going around in the muck and the dirt and the whole lot. While now, at least now, well, it doesn't really suit me now. At my stage now, the ball will be hopping. But sure, look at we try to be doing the hopping now ourselves, hopping off fellas. But sure, look at that. We'll see how it goes. Looking forward to it now. It's great. Hopefully now to get up and running without any hiccups or anything like that.
Yeah, you'll have to change your defending style a bit with these new penalties and sin bins coming in, will you?
They're not coming in club. They're not coming in club, Tom. That was
because
the first.
You're safe enough, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting for a check from Ellen Tynan for getting him onto a county panel after that game last year.
Yeah.
So,
I think it could have been my coverage of the game. No, they could have got him on.
Yeah.
But,
I should have got you to block me out or something.
Yeah, but just staying with Anna Carty there, like as I said, we covered a few of your games last year in both hurling and football. Like you were very unlucky with injuries too. Like you weren't that too far away.
Yeah, well, look at it. I suppose we just kind of got a run of results, and it's like losing can be a habit just as easy as winning. But and look, we went into the first game against County, and you know you lost Tom Fox there, or Brian. We lost Brian Fox early on. Tom was going around on a hamstring there as he was for the year there, and and Rowan, the brother, had to go off that. So like, just we were kind of on the back foot then after that. But look, we managed to batten down the hatches. We were, I suppose we managed to get a good win over Bancha in the relegation senior football semi-final, and that kind of set us up then for the relegation final against Burgess. Look, they're the games you don't want to be playing in, and they're not nice games to be playing, and I can tell you they're pressure games. But we were delighted just to survive in the two of them. look, we're hoping that we'll need a massive improvement this year. There's no doubt about it. We know that ourselves. And look, if we're good enough, we'll make somebody kind of an impression. And if we're not, then we won't.
Dave Howard didn't give you a call after that great point against Banff from, I think, what was it, 60 yards? It's getting longer the whole time we talk.
No. I think he was looking for. He said a 5-minute man didn't suit him. He said.
Yeah, there was a fierce wind down there too. Like so.
There was, but it's not every fella that can judge it either, though, Tom.
Yeah. The umpire could have done you a favour as well, but we'll say no more. Just touching with the county minors, you're involved there with Woody this year. I assume you've no guide when you'll be back.
No, there's no word. Sure, look, it's like Anthony Tom. There's rumours going around there the whole time about when we might be back. You'd hear one stage that it could be played during the summer, and then you'd hear then that it might go to the tail end of the year. So I don't think Croke Park have got any guidance from the government on it yet. So we're just waiting to see. Look, I think whenever it happens, you're probably going to get a short window of preparation, like everyone is really. So look, it'll be just a case of we'll just have to do as best we can and get the boys ready whenever we can. I suppose didn't ideal if we had some kind of a panel that we could have, got ready if there was trials earlier in the year or something like that. But we haven't had any of them yet. But look, it is what it is. There won't be any excuses. Our job will be to get the team ready as best we can whenever we're told it happens. And look, I really do hope it happens, because I suppose with everything that's went on, you feel really sorry for them lads aged maybe 15 plus, up to 25, because they're the lads, I suppose, rest of maybe with families and work maybe to keep us going or whatever it is. But them boys, what do they want? They only want to be hurling and out and having a bit of crack. So, they've missed all that. So we just really hope that them boys can get a good run at it and get the opportunity to represent Tipperary, to the best of their ability, which I have no doubt they will.
Yeah, I suppose. Couldn't there be an advantage playing it at the end of the year? Would it, that you get a chance to take a look at more players?
That's it. We'd be, you'd be, if that's it. And look, like the club has to be played during the summer in terms of under 17 competitions, under 15 competitions. Because that's where the majority of players are. And these young lads have had no school hurling, which they normally would. They've had Harty, or they would have had, say, maybe not Harty now at under 17 levels, but they would have had, say, Dean Ryan or Canaan Cup or whatever it is in the various schools. But they haven't had that, So, you're just if it's the case that the club goes ahead during the summer, then it'd be a great opportunity for us to get to matches, see lads, because even these lads, they were under 16 last year, the majority, and under 15, they didn't have any of that last year, say at county level, at development squad level. So, it'd be a great opportunity just to go to the matches and, to get, even for these boys to get a string of games together with their club, get 5 or 6 group games in each of the divisions. Sure, it'd be great. Them lads would only love it, and say it'd be a great opportunity for ourselves as well to go and see lads and just get them out and get them hurling and playing matches.
Yeah, well, hopefully you'll get guidelines fairly shortly, and we'll all know what we stand. And looking forward to getting back seeing more games. Conor, thanks for being with us, and I hope we talk to you again very soon.
Hey, no bother at all, Tom. Really looking forward to it, and the best of luck with everything.
Cheers, thank you. Well, our new studio is almost ready to go, and we'll be broadcasting from there next week. We're currently putting together a Tipperary Wall of Fame with some of Tipperary's finest ever sports stars on it. Included are Shamie Callinan, Rachel Blackmore, Samantha Lambert, Dorothy Wall, Declan Brown and Alan Quillen, to name a few. If there's anybody you'd like to see on the wall, please let us know and contact us by the usual social media networks. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks to Conor O'Brien for being with us. Coming up next week, we'll be reviewing round 1 of the National Hurling League, while also looking forward to round 2. We'll also be looking ahead to the commencement of both the National Football League and the Camogie League. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up to date with all upcoming events. Good luck, mind yourself, and we'll talk to you all again very soon.